world with limited resources, limited time, and limited budgets, a few brave souls forge forward and don't ask for permission to make their stories come to life. Welcome to the Adventures in Backyard Filmmaking podcast. Here is your host, Jamie Francis.
Welcome to the Adventures in Backyard Filmmaking podcast. I'm your host, Jamie Francis. I just want to have a quick conversation with you guys. Do you remember vinyl records? Well, they're kind of coming back in a big way for the music industry. And, well, why are we talking vinyl records? Well, I just had this thought. Is the film industry going to have a resurgence like vinyl in its physical media? And what, if that is going to happen, what format? See, let's just step back a bit. In 2004, of all the albums that were sold, only 0.2% were vinyl records. Fast forward to 2014, 10 years later, it is now 3.6% of all albums are actually sold on vinyl, which is actually quite alarming. So vinyl records are definitely coming back. But why are they coming back? Why the resurgence in this, in a way, archaic format? But for a lot of people, it's not archaic, and it's something here and still around and probably here to stay. A lot of people are saying that this is not a fad, and it will kind of just continue to be around and exist in this on-demand digital age, which I actually find very, very fascinating. Is there a film version of the vinyl record? Will we see a resurgence in Laserdiscs, or maybe VHS, or maybe it's just a little bit more in the future, and the resurgence is going to happen in a few years when DVD and maybe even Blu-ray are kind of like had seen better days. Right now, our physical media is definitely on the decline in the film industry. I don't have any hard numbers, but a lot of people, we live in a Netflix on-demand age, which is great. And this is definitely the now, and it definitely will continue in the future. It probably will grow. But do we see any of the physical formatted movies? Do we see the physical media just dying, completely erasing? And I am going to compete against that. I'm going to think that, and I do hope that a physical media version of our favorite movies will always be around. But what format is that going to be? And I really don't think of this on-demand age as like kind of 100% all in one basket, like everything's got to be digital. I love having a collection. I remember as a kid, nothing was better than going to a video store, going to a Blockbuster, or even like just a little mom and pop shop, and just scouring the covers of the newest VHS, or even just the old grimy kind of low budget horror stuff. Some of the artwork alone sold you on the movie. And I know that was back in the heyday of video, that was, for me, that was almost as exciting as going to a theater and watching a movie. You just kind of opened up your imagination. And I know a lot of people my age and grew up in the late 80s, early 90s, kind of have the same nostalgia feel to video, like basically a physical format, because everything's just so on demand now that you kind of lose the collectability and the holding something in your hand. And the research has shown, and I've read a few articles on the vinyl records, and that's kind of the same idea with vinyl records and the resurgence of them, is the physicality of the actually just picking up the album and taking it out, putting it onto a record player. I really think it goes hand in hand with a physical formatted films. So So what is it going to be? What do you? I'm going to throw that out there. Like, what do you guys think the format is that's going to stick around? If we look at vinyl and why people buy vinyl, is obviously a nostalgia factor is there, and the physical having a physical thing, but there's also a quality thing. A lot of vinyl aficionados, they love the vinyl sound, and they believe that it's actually better than MP3 and the on-demand kind of iTunes world. And that's debatable, but there is something to be said about a lossless format, and that's what vinyl is. And it's uncompressed. But you do have the added artifacts of just the surface sound and just how your player plays and how the record was processed and manufactured. All that kind of goes with the whole experience that people find with vinyl records. So if you flip that to movies, if you look at some of the possible formats that could stick around, maybe a couple of them could stick around. I know there is a slow brewing movement towards VHS. Some of the advantages of VHS, and especially as a collector, is there's still a lot of content. Some say even 50% of the content created originally for the video format, the VHS format, was never even ported to DVD, let alone Blu-ray. And a lot of people believe that VHS was the intended format of some of these really down-home backyard movies made for very low budgets. VHS was all they were really going for. So when they get cleaned up for Blu-ray or DVD, you see a lot of the imperfections, and they're kind of just not really meant to be seen that way, which is an interesting thought. And maybe VHS could be around for a while. I know there is not a lot of manufacturers. That's the one main issue, is that there's not a lot of manufacturers of VHSs anymore. There are probably just a handful left, if not completely non-existent. So that's going to be an issue. You're going to need a format that is still readily available to be made. Just the simple fact of that, it's just the costs involved would be enormous. So that's the one downfall with VHS. And honestly, a lot of people aren't going to want to go back to VHS. They were clunky. They kind of take up a lot of room. It's all about, I believe, coexisting. You don't want to really put everything into one basket. Like if you kind of still make your backyard movies and get them out to as many people as you can online, which is obviously the cheapest and kind of in a way best way to serve your audience. But what if that audience wants to collect your movie? Maybe you create a VHS, like a signed version of your movie on VHS. Maybe you have some extra goodies on your VHS version of your movie. I personally don't think VHS will be the end all with the physical media, but I do think it's a very cool format. There's definitely that kitschy kind of nostalgia with VHS, and I definitely think it will be around for quite a bit longer. And I don't think it'll ever really truly die. Me personally, I don't even have a VCR anymore. I haven't played a tape in a while, but I do yearn for those days, having even making movies and then putting on VHS and watching them on a TV. It was very neat, and it could stick around. What I really think is going to be the physical format of the future. This might take a while because it's not really out of vogue. Blu-ray. I think Blu-ray really has a capability of being a great kind of 1-2 combo with this on-demand stuff. It has great quality. Even compared to Netflix or digital downloads, you do have you can have a better bit rate with Blu-ray, and the quality is HD, and that's a great quality video. It's great quality. It's just everything. It sounds better on Blu-ray. It looks better on Blu-ray, and sometimes the packaging even on some Blu-rays can be very, very cool. Now, what I've been seeing lately is a lot of Blu-rays are very weak in its delivery, not super involved, and they've kind of the run of the mill. And this is where I really think backyard filmmakers could really step up and deliver an amazing package for their audience. If you package together a Blu-ray with amazing behind the scenes, maybe give out every one comes signed. Really make this kind of boutique Blu-ray version of your films. I really think there's a opportunity there to, extra income for your movies, and maybe some extra cash for your next projects. I'm not saying that it's going to be the majority of what you make your money on, but why not make that available for your audience? And I really truly believe that Blu-ray could be the one to just kind of stick around and be a very solid format. But don't cheap out. Make a really, really cool package. Make it available with a digital download of your movie. Just make it something that you want people to be, your audience. You want your audience to want this Blu-ray so bad that they just couldn't live without it. You want your raving fans to be able to buy something that they could keep for a while or forever. Now, Blu-ray isn't perfect, and really, no format is really that perfect. With the capabilities of 4K filmmaking now, eventually there will be a 4K Blu-ray. I believe they even have a 4K Blu-ray coming out fairly soon. This is just started Q2 of 2015 here, and I believe it's out in some version, but not readily available at all. And again, it's like any technology, expensive right now, but I think that could be something that could be a possibility. But yeah, I really think Blu-ray could be great. So anyway, that's just I just wanted to talk about that for a bit. I just kind of got that thought in my brain about after reading just about vinyl records. Just here's some quick stats on vinyl. 9.2 million vinyl were sold in 2014. The top selling album was Jack White's Lazaretto at 87,000 copies, which is not too bad, not too shabby at all. And it's gone up 7 straight years. In vinyl records sales have gone up 7 straight years, and they don't see it really slowing down. So yeah, there's just a food for thought for you. This will be a quicker little episode, but I'll link to you to maybe some articles that I've read, and this is kind of based off. But yeah, maybe just one thing to take away from this is just maybe don't think solely on just making a on-demand product that people can download. Think of an overall package. Remember back what you loved about, or still love about, DVD or Blu-ray, or in those formats when they had awesome commentaries and behind-the-scenes photos and awesome documentaries. Some of the documentaries back in the day were basically film schools, DVD film schools, and I miss those days. And I don't know, that's something to be said. I'm talking about Blu-ray and how I starting to really think it could be something to look into. I don't even own a Blu-ray player, but I actually own Blu-ray discs, which I'm going to go buy a Blu-ray player today, and I'm going to start kind of promoting this kind of just thought. I go out and maybe just give it a try. It's great quality, and it could be just an idea for your films. All I want to say is just sort of don't give up on the physical media. I think it's going to be around, and I think it's going to be around for a while. People like to see things in their hands. It's not just the quick fix. Especially if you're trying to promote your films to a raving fan base, it could be a huge opportunity that you might be missing out on. Again, it just comes down to audience and what your audience use and what they would like. And who wouldn't want a awesome Blu-ray package or physical media package of like their favorite movie of yours? So don't just discount that just because we live in such a digital, online, on-demand world. I just wanted to switch gears and talk about another happening in the no-budget, micro-budget world recently. South by Southwest had a great keynote that's actually been posted online by Mark Duplass from the Duplass brothers. And if you haven't checked it out, I really, really highly recommend it. It's really enlightening, and Mark basically breaks down the way he sees things now and what the future, and well, not necessarily just the future, but just what's happening right now in the film industry. And my biggest takeaway from it is, again, like I've been kind of using this podcast as a kind of a soapbox of sorts for it, but just there's absolutely no excuse to go and just make your creative endeavors happen. Just going out there on weekends and shooting with a bunch of friends. There's absolutely no excuse to just go and shoot a movie if that's something you want to do. What I also loved about Mark's keynote speech was those whole cavalry. He mentions it as a cavalry. Basically, the whole dream of waiting for that cavalry to come and grab your stuff and be and just give you that 4-picture deal or 3-picture deal, and you're off to the races. And by the end of the keynote speech, after he's went through these plans that you basically a step-by-step guide of how they kind of got to where they are now, their own TV show, and started out just making super low budget $1,000 feature films, is once you've completed and done well with your 2 or 3 micro budget films, he still says that the cavalry will not be coming. And then and in the end, basically, he mentions why even bother? Why even bother about worrying about the cavalry? Because you are the cavalry now. You are the ones putting the effort into your own projects, and you're getting the most out of what you're doing. And again, it goes to just the fact that you care about your project more than anybody else. And your audience will get that, and they'll know that you are truly just making art or making your films and your art because you just love what you're doing. And people love that, and people buy and support people who they like and who they trust. Again, it kind of just goes down to basic business. People just don't buy things from people or products made by people who are disingenuine, and just, especially nowadays, it's really easy to see people are very savvy, and they know when something is just a scam and they're just in for the money. You never want to do that. You want to be a part of, people want to be a part of what you're doing because they see the love you put into it. And that's kind of what he's sort of touches on, is that don't worry about somebody giving you a giant deal. Just keep doing what you're doing. And it's really that's all it really breaks down to. Just the whole no excuse, and going out there and just making movies and just putting your art out there. And I feel like I repeat that a lot here on this podcast, but I want to stress that a lot. Especially nowadays, the technology is just so accessible, so inexpensive. Just go out there with a phone, shoot a movie, and just learn from everything you do. You'll always get better. And I'll just wanted to say that. So yeah, check that out. The Mark Duplass keynote speech from the 2015 South by the Southwest Festival. Check that out. I'll have that link on the keynotes. But yeah, it's not very long. Well, there's a Q&A session. It's about a half an hour. But the first half an hour is kind of just his speech, unfiltered, and it's very good. I highly recommend checking that out. Anyway, I have a lot of different things I want to talk about, and I find that this episode's very kind of sporadic and kind of all over the place. But those are just two thoughts right now that I'm having. Maybe I'll do another episode. There's a couple other articles I've been looking into and just reading up on, and I love learning about new stuff. Like, see, this is what this podcast is all about. I'm learning is just as much as you guys are. I hope this is helping out in some way. I learn every day, and I try to learn about anything to do with the film industry, and just really just making movies that people will want to watch, and being, I don't know, I don't know really what I'm trying to do. Sometimes I get lost, and I don't know, if you listen to this and get anything out of it, I really truly appreciate it. And chime in, maybe have some comments, maybe especially on my first part of this podcast. Maybe you totally disagree and think that there's no point to creating Blu-ray or a VHS or DVD of your project. It's solely way easier to just do on demand. Of course, it's way easier, but maybe you don't believe that is worth putting the effort into that kind of physical media package. But anyway, I'm starting to ramble here. Go out, make a movie, and upload it online. But also think about maybe making a Blu-ray or a DVD, or maybe even a VHS if you really want to. Thanks for listening. This is Jamie Francis for the Adventures in Backyard Filming podcast. If you want to check out more about this podcast, check out www.backyardfilmmaking.com. You can also check out more about my super low-budget $500 movie, backyard movie that I'm making with my brother Dan, and it's called The Wrong People. So you can find it at thewrongpeoplemovie.com. Sign up for the email newsletter, and you can get free downloads and updates on when the movie will be released and other information on the movie. Thanks again, and also you can check out just our website overall at francisbrothersfilms.com. Thanks again. This is Jamie Francis, and I'll see you in the... I still don't really have an ending for these things, but I'll see you on the other side. Have a good day.